Welcome to Politics Done Right on KPFT. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is the progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. Give me a call at 713-526-5738. That is 713-526-KPFT. Remember, you can also send me a tweet to EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is politics done right.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willies, your host. It is a pleasure being here with you today, my dear people. How are you guys doing today? Shannon.
I am fantastic. Happy to be with you, Egberto.
Likewise. And, you know, in the olden days, we used to say ditto.
Ditto.
Do they still say that?
Some do. I mean.
Or am I aging or kind of aging myself?
Let's just bring it back.
All right. I like that. Let's bring it back. Well, folks, I'm happy to be here with you. We have an interesting show, right, Shannon? Wait, you know, I'm not.
We certainly do.
Yeah,
we certainly do.
We're going to have a great show for you today. We're going to be talking about Super Tuesday.
The day.
The day. And I want to hear from you guys. I really want to hear your impressions after the blog of the week, folks, because you know how it goes. So remember, this is a call-in show, 713-526-5738. So, okay, let's get started.
And it was a very interesting Super Tuesday.
Yes,
I was glued to my phone when all those updates were coming through.
I know.
Even at a watch party. It's just there's so much information.
So how much did you drink?
Nothing. I'm just Lent.
Oh, okay. You couldn't, huh?
I couldn't.
Well, at least that's what you tell yourself. Okay. All right. Okay. Anyhow, folks. Anyhow. Republicans are burning it up this cycle. Their numbers say it all. I mean, it does matter. You know that. It does matter. But anyhow, it doesn't matter that many believe that their front runner is causing dissension in the country. He is their man. Democrats are bewildered. The voting numbers are abysmal for Democrats. Is this something that we can change? Is this something to worry about now? We will discuss Super Tuesday and much more. Before I get to the program, however, I want to remind all our listeners that KPFT is a bastion of intelligent voices and programs. As a political activist, my favorites are The Monitor with Mark Bebawi on Mondays at 7 p.m., Think Wing Radio with Mike Honig on Mondays at 9 p.m., Partisan Gridlock with Jeff Berg on Fridays at 3 p.m., and Jazz Latino, Afro-Cuban Latin jazz at its best, hosted by my good friend Juan Flores on Mondays at 10 p.m. Anyhow, folks, check out our full schedule at kpft.org, where you can find programming from music to politics to medicine to the eclectic. KPFT is listener-supported community radio. So please remember that if you like what you hear, visit kpft.org and ensure we remain a strong, viable station, a strong, viable community radio station that offer you good programming, information, and that is most importantly not influenced by the corporate. Not influenced by the.
Well, I would say the corporate media, but you would say the corporatocracy.
Yeah, because I think it's so much bigger than just the media. But it's okay. We're on the same team.
Oh yeah.
Anyhow, this is KPFT 90.1 FM in Houston, Texas. We want to hear your voice. We want to hear your thoughts. Let's talk. I will also be following our hashtag Politics Done Right on Twitter, Egberto Willies. You can listen to the live stream. You can listen everywhere at kpft.org. Anyhow, folks, do you know what time it is? Well, let me see what time it is. Let me think for a second. Toot, 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 toot.
It's time for the weekly blog post.
Well, folks, I was trying to be that nice sound before Shannon got that nice sound in. I was trying to mimic it. I didn't do a very good job at it. But hey, Shannon, you try. Listen, today's blog of the week, it's called Republicans Are Voting for Hope While Democrats Are Voting Out of Fear. I really hope you follow what I'm trying to say, and I hope to hear your comments about that. Whether you are a Hillary Clinton supporter or Bernie Sanders supporter, a Trump supporter. When I say Trump, I got some laughter in here from Jacob. Jacob, why are you laughing, Jacob? When I mentioned Trump, why did you laugh?
Basically the conversation that I had with the Generation Radio folks just now. So.
Oh, okay. Well, I hope that is a great show. Just before my show, Asian Radio. I mean, some great eclectic music. I hope you guys are listening to the show too, because it covers us all, folks. Anyhow,
Do tell Jacob though.
Oh, I don't want to interfere with this. I may come back to talk about why I'm basically dancing around the dumpster fire.
Okay, you know what? Then I'll do the blog of the week. Then it's all yours, and we go to our folk. Okay. Sounds good. Anyhow, folks, here it goes. And I'm going to be quick on this one. It's only about 700 words. So here we go. America has no faith in the political process. The lack of faith is manifested in many different forms. In a duopoly that is the United States, that manifestation is reflected very differently by those from either party. Yes, I understand that technically speaking, there are various parties. The Green Party, the Justice Party, the Libertarian Party, among many others. However, until one of those parties get their act together and build a growing grassroots movement, the duopoly is all that effectively matters. Now, the election season is different than any others in living memory. Each party is running a maverick. Each maverick claims they are building or leading a movement of some kind. Donald Trump's movement was a surprise. The Republican Party viewed Donald Trump as a joke. They know he is not a real conservative. The Republican Party believed their own rhetoric. They believed that rank and file Republicans really believed in the conservative orthodoxy. The reality is that the Republican Party is a combination of low-tax plutocrats, evangelical extremists, insular racists, confused welfare recipients, gun-toting zealots, secessionists, but it's also filled with a large swath of very good people. So I want to get that across. Yes, I named all those bad things, but within all that group is a group of very good people. Now, the reality is that the Republican Party is a combination, or rather, that's wrong one. When one queries Republicans, there is one common thread. They believe that there are those people out there who are trying to take away something that they have earned. The something they have earned could be something material, something spiritual, or an unearned but deserved privilege in their opinion. Donald Trump, with just words, created a verbal mosaic that united and spoke to all the fears and wants of the low information, racist, and opportunist sects of the Republican Party. Now, the Republican Party realizes now that there was in fact a Trump movement. Trump unified all factions of the party built into a cohesive unit. He gave them the belief that as a plain-spoken person uninterested in political correctness, he represented the party with a tonality they would not personally articulate, but would want to. He became their alter ego. He became their spokesperson. Yes, he gave them what? Hope. I mean, that's sad, but he gave them hope. Whereas the Republican Party disregarded Donald Trump, allowing the poisonous weed to grow, the Democratic Party knew better. The Democratic Party decided who it wanted anointed as a candidate. As such, it ensured no viable Democratic establishment candidate would contest the anointed one. They ensured that the Democratic establishment was in lockstep with the anointed one. No one in the Democratic establishment believed that Bernie Sanders would present any kind of threat. After all, he has the moniker socialist in his self-described democratic socialist description. Sad, sad, sad. But that's the case. That's what it is all about. Now, Sanders has proven that even with headwinds of a party that has been working against him, he is able to compete. Why? Because whether one supports him or his opponent, his message is the message they all want. The problem is that rank and file Democrats have been programmed to believe their wants of a just society is unattainable. They believe most of the country would believe it is unattainable and likely vote for the other side, who has a pseudo-populist message as well. The corporate media and the Democratic establishment trivializes Sanders' message, which is mathematically sound, but would in fact mitigate the redistribution of wealth upwards. It is not in line with many in the Democratic Party. After all, the plutocracy funds most Democrats and Republicans alike. Bernie Sanders is raking in millions from the masses. So guess what, folks? A politician justifiably owned by we the people. Interesting, isn't it? What the Democratic Party has done implicitly is temper voter turnout. Many voters believe that Bernie Sanders ultimately cannot win. To many, they believe they have nothing to vote for. The difference in voter turnout between Republicans and Democrats is probative in the early primaries, but specifically on Super Tuesday. Republicans are cleaning Democrats' clock. Currently, the Republican establishment is terrified. The Republican rank and file, however, is hopeful. Their level of voting shows it. Currently, the Democratic establishment is hopeful. Unfortunately, though, the Democratic rank and file is terrified. Democrats just want to at least hold on to their gains. They are risk averse. Their vote and their level of voting show that. It is ironic that in the 2016 election, Republicans are voting for hope while Democrats are voting out of fear. A real social justice revolution and a real economic revolution cannot start without awareness, cannot be built solely on hope, and definitely cannot occur based on fear. One hopes Americans will become aware over the next few weeks, lest our decline continues. Folks, that is the blog of the week. So let's go ahead and start the roll. I don't see Jacob in there. So let's go ahead and start online the calls with number one. Let's go ahead and talk to John. John, how are you doing today, my friend?
Yeah, I'm great. How you doing, Egberto?
So far, so good, my friend. Talk to me.
Yeah, I mean, first thing I want to do is, address the fact that Bernie's still in this race.
Absolutely.
He is, right now, he's about 14 percentage points, or 16 percentage points. There's a really good thing on 538 by Aaron Bykoff and David Wasserman, and they go, primary and caucus, each one until the nomination is done, and saying how many delegates you can win. They're going to have to win to actually get the nomination, and he's at 16 points off. Actually, he's in much better shape than Ted Cruz is. Ted Cruz is actually 39%. He's only at 61% of his target. So all this talk about a Trump, winning in his brokered convention, he actually has a better chance of winning outright than Hillary does right now.
Listen, that is true. But both of us know what the reality is, John, and that is the media is a corporate media that has a spin that it must put out there. And what happens? They try to what they really try to do is they try to influence people's votes, demoralize people into believing that in doing so it'll suppress the voter turnout. And as my blog mentioned, right now Democrats are voting out of fear. They're so fearful of what comes on the other side that they think maybe Clinton, they believe it's the sure thing. But we also know that isn't necessarily the fact. In fact, if I were a voting person, when I say I am a voting person, if I were a betting person, I would actually tend to believe that Bernie has a bigger chance because his message touches more so than Hillary's message. And not only the message, but I think when people talk about opening up on Bernie about his socialism or the social concept, I have a feeling when people open up on Wall Street and open up on the amount of monies that's been transferred, that's going to present a big problem. And Trump isn't going to look all that bad after all, with all the bad things that there is about Trump or the bad things that are out about Cruz and all the other guys. You say?
Yeah, I mean, I see your point. I just want to say that right now, I've aggregated the polls, and basically, if the election were held today based on polls going back a month, Bernie would win at 295 to 243. Now, Hillary would win also at 279 to 259.
Right.
So, I mean, I feel pretty strongly that the people are going to turn out. I don't know if you read a Chris Bowers article that he wrote, published on Friday. He's
on
the
Daily
executive.
Kos? Yeah,
on Daily Kos. He's the executive campaign director.
Right.
And he's making the point that there's really not a huge difference in turnout between the lowest turnout was in 2000. It was at 54.2%, and the highest turnout is at 61.6%.
Right.
So, I mean, I just don't see it as being I'd love to see people turning out, you know, but I think when, the time comes, I mean, it's always relative. The primary and caucus turnout is always much smaller than the general election turnout.
Right.
And we just have to turn people out. I mean, that's...
you're correct. Now, the thing that bothers me, I shouldn't say bother me, that I think the things that should worry Democrats in general is if they take a look at, I'm not taking a look at absolute numbers, I'm taking a look at relative numbers. The relative numbers of Republicans to Democrats is concerning, and I don't think we should hide our heads in the sand about that. I think there's an enthusiasm problem that has to be addressed, and I think one of the reasons we have that problem is because, as I mentioned in the blog, we got an anointed one. I'm not saying that Hillary shouldn't be the rep or Bernie should be the rep or whatever. What I'm actually saying is that if people didn't feel that they were being manipulated, I think you would have more of a vibrancy. Right now, many people in this business believe it's all fait accompli, which is not the case.
Right. Well, that's another thing that Chris Bowers was talking about. I mean, he wrote the piece on Friday before, South Carolina and Super Tuesday.
Right.
But he was saying it's actually liberals are showing up. It's actually moderates who aren't showing up. I mean, by huge margins.
Right.
I mean, it's a drop from 310,000 to 160,000, 47%. And, I mean, I think a lot of those are Clinton voters who just say, Clinton's going to win. Why should I show up when she's going to win?
That's what I said in the blog. In effect, yeah. But here's the thing, though. What you want to make sure is that people show up. I mean, if you take a look at what came out if you look at all the exit polls show that as far as the Democrats are coming out, it is a very left-leaning Democratic vote that we're having. But let me put you on hold, John, and I have to run to Scott in line 2. Scott, go ahead.
Thank you.
How you doing, Scott?
Would you believe Loving County, Texas voted for Sanders? Its latest census population was 82 people. Yeah, there were 13 counties in Texas that voted for Sanders. That includes Travis County, that's Austin.
Right.
Its neighbor, Hayes County. Brazos County, that's College Station. And then there are a few sparsely counted.
I am surprised that Williamson County didn't come out in there as well.
Yeah, and Dallas County voted 71% for Hillary. Mm-hmm. Harris County voted 70%. Texas just voted 65% for Hillary.
Right.
So there were counties that must have been fairly close.
Right. I mean, the thing about it is right now, Bernie, for a reason that is still unknown to me, I don't think right now, Bernie, I mean, Hillary has the black vote locked up. And I just don't understand it, to be honest with you, given what I know. But unfortunately, most people aren't very well versed on all the issues that the Clintons have brought forth. But that said, it's not, what concerns me is I never like to see when one particular group so much go for one particular person. It also makes the group seem owned, and I take exception to that. But Scott, thank you for calling, my friend. I have some other calls I got to get to, so you take care, my friend. Let's go to line 3 with Brother John. Come on in, Brother John.
How you doing, Egberto?
I am doing fine, sir. How have you been, sir?
Oh, Tuesday night was fun, wasn't it?
Tell me about it. I was up till probably 3 in the morning following those numbers and trying to figure out how it's going to end in Alaska.
Oh, yeah. I switched to the BBC for those results. I get the other side of the pond's opinion on it and everything. And I'm not a drinker, but I had plenty of rolls for the night.
Well, Shannon already said that she didn't drink. She was on Lent, right, Shannon?
That is correct, but I really enjoyed the night.
Well, she enjoyed the night without the liquor. I like to hear that. Young people don't have to drink to have fun. Continue, my friend.
Yes. Anyway, the Trump movement. I like to refer to it as the bowel movement. And, somebody put that on a sign out there for me. You sign makers for the next protest, that would be a good one.
And remember to put registered trademark. It goes to Brother John.
I'll take full credit for that one. But just like I predicted with my wife, now listen, I've been doing pretty good on this one. Surprisingly enough, as wicked as this election has been going, and my wife could tell you, I've been hitting like 82%.
Oh, that's pretty good. It'd be average.
Now, what I predicted prior to them actually the starting date, and let the race begin, I said, you are going to witness the shredding of the Republican Party. She goes, you think so? I said, I know so. I'm that confident about it. And Tuesday, just like, I looked at her. She goes, yeah, it looks like you're right. Because they're talking about the broker convention, the splintered party. And before the night was through, Romney was giving speeches.
Yeah, but let me tell you, I am not going to...
But I'll tell you.
Go ahead.
I'm going to say this, make a statement, and I'll take it off the air.
Yes.
I mentioned this on your radio about 6 months ago, and they said, oh, no, that will never happen. I said, just what? Mark my word. Paul Ryan.
You think so?
Paul. Now, I'm saying beware.
Right.
Watch.
Okay.
Put the word out.
All right, if it's a brokered convention and they put somebody on the...
It could be that third-party split they're talking about.
Right.
But if they go brokered, I'm telling you, listen, it's Paul Ryan already came out and made a speech.
Okay.
Somebody else on NPR called in and said they heard Tim talking about, well, he really needs to give his poverty speech for the party again.
Right.
Oh, yeah, isn't that a wonderful one? You could tell the listeners about that
right.
one. But, yes, I'll take my statement off, and I'd like to hear the rest of it. Everybody call in. Let's go, boys. We had a good turnout. That's what they said. We had real good turnouts throughout Texas. And in Oklahoma, they said there's a two-thirds greater turnout.
Right. Well, Oklahoma, they were actually feeling it. I was surprised about Oklahoma.
Right, and it wasn't just the Sooners and the college.
No, not at all. Thank you, buddy.
Wait, I'll talk to you later. God bless. Bye, Shannon.
Take care.
Bye, Brother John.
Okay, Shannon, do you need to go to weather first, or do you need to...
Yeah, let's take a brief look at that. What's going on around town? On the North Loop westbound at the Hardy Toll Road, a heavy truck accident is affecting all main lanes in that area, backing up traffic to Gellhorn at this time. On the Gulf Freeway outbound at Telephone, an accident is affecting 2 center lanes to the left lane and backing up traffic to Allen Parkway. On the North Freeway inbound at the North Sam Houston Tollway, an accident is affecting the right lane and shoulder, backing up traffic to Airtex at this time. And on the Southwest Freeway inbound at Chimney Rock, there's an accident affecting the left lane and shoulder, backing up traffic in the immediate area. But I'll keep an eye on all these incidences and keep you updated. It is currently 86 degrees and sunny skies here in the heart of Montrose. Low tonight of 51 degrees and clear skies through Friday. Friday expects sunny skies and a high of 77 degrees. That's a look at your Houston area weather and traffic. I'm Shannon McCurchie, and you are listening to KPFT Houston, Politics Done Right with Egberto Willies.
Muchísimas gracias, hermana. Muchísimas gracias. Now, I have an interesting thing. Did you say 86 degrees?
That is correct.
Is 86 degrees not just like 4 degrees from 90 degrees?
I'll double check on this for you. It says 86.5.
And we are in March, aren't we?
We are. It's going to be a very hot summer. I'm predicting. That's my prediction.
Yes, I think you may be right there. Anyhow, let's go to línea número 4, number 4, with Richard. Come on in, Richard. How you doing? And before you go, Richard, let me hold on a second, Richard. Hold 1 second. Folks, please remember this is a call-in show, and we do have open lines, 713-526-5738. Again, 713-526-5738. And also, before I get back to Richard, ladies, women, I want to hear your voices as well. Men simply are dominating this confounded political system, and we know who really makes the world run. So ladies, call as well, please. Lines are open. Yes, Shannon, what you want to say?
That's hilarious. I love the way you say it. I love it when you say that.
Hey, but it's true. I mean, I have found that doing a whole lot of things my wife told me I was going to do that I said I wouldn't. So, I mean, you know how it goes. 713-526-5738. Okay, go ahead, Richard.
Absolutely. I'm glad you reiterated that. My great aunt, Minnie Fisher Cunningham, was instrumental in getting the 19th Amendment passed.
There you go. Absolutely.
Yeah, she was part of FDR's administration. She was the first lady to ever run for the United States Senate from Texas, and these ignorant fools around here don't even know what they got.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Talk to me, Richard.
They're just jealous of her. But what I wanted to talk to you about is two different things.
Yes,
One,
sir.
The question of why wasn't there a big turnout for the Democrats in the primaries, and I hear it and see it all over the place, and I don't think anybody really touched on it, is we got two winners.
Right.
We don't care.
Right.
We like Hillary, we like Bernie.
Right.
We vote for Hillary because we don't think Bernie can win if he got the nomination, because the right is going to spend so ungodly amount of money trying to label him as the giveaway president.
Right.
So that's why there's not a big.
Can I ask you a question, Richard?
Richard, they'll get a giant turnout in general.
Richard, let me ask you something, because right now you just mentioned the word giveaway Bernie, right? You know about the income inequality and wealth inequality that's from people. What I called the transfer of wealth over the last 30 years a theft. That's what I normally write about it, because I think it was a legal theft that occurred. Now, don't you think people are more ready to listen to a message, let's say, that a Bernie has, which is, again, like I always tell people, it's paid for if you take a look at the numbers, and compared to, let's say, Hillary. And this, I'd like you to answer the question: how do you feel about a Bernie and his policies versus a Hillary that that has received a whole lot of money from the corporatocracy, from Wall Street, etc.? Don't you think that can be exploited very well during the major part of the election, especially from a Trump who needs money from nobody?
Exploiting Hillary?
Yes.
Yeah, well, they're going to exploit either one of them.
Right.
You know, they're going to paint either one of them, and one just less than the other.
Right.
But, I'm more like Bill Maher. I'm like, the electorate is stupid. I mean, we got dot connectors, we got logical thinkers on the left that think that Hillary maybe not have all this really great appeal because they've been beating up on her for so long,
right,
and some of it finally sticks. And they also think, like me, that Bernie is right on target. However, they think like me also in that, like I just said, I don't want to repeat myself, that the right is going to spend so much money labeling him a giveaway president.
I want to say one thing to you, though, Richard.
He's not a giveaway president.
Right.
That's not what I'm calling him. But that's what they're going to call him.
I know.
Let me make another point real quick.
Yes, sir.
Have you seen today Mitt Romney get on
I
the screen
sure
and
did.
blast? Okay.
Was that hilarious or what?
Oh, it was great. I loved it. And he makes some points. And then I saw the tirade that the moron got up there, and it went on and on and on. He just loves an audience. He just loves the sound of his own voice. But what I want to say about that is I've been saying it time and time again here lately, when this attack on Trump, where were y'all back during the birther BS?
Well,
where were y'all back when he was asking for his birth certificate?
Exactly.
Y'all don't have any credibility now.
Exactly.
If you want to stop this runaway train, you should have done it long time ago. But you didn't. You let him go because he fulfilled an agenda for you as in the right wing. He fulfilled an agenda by rattling the cage with his dog whistle.
Yes.
And they loved it. They loved it. And now they can't reel him in. And they're shocked, and now they're scared. They're like, "Oh my God, what are we coming to?" It's too late now.
Richard,
we get the leaders we deserve.
Richard, you hit it on the money. Richard, you hit it on the money. They wanted him to use him as bait, and he became more than bait. He actually became the fisherman.
Absolutely.
Anyway,
On him. Yeah.
hey, thank you, Richard. I appreciate your call. You keep listening, my brother, okay?
All right. Thank you.
Take care now. All right, let's go to line number 5 with Treg. Come on in, Treg.
Tag.
Come on in, Tag.
Yeah, thanks.
How you doing, my friend?
How you doing?
Excellent, my friend. Talk to me.
Well, Obama got elected on change.
Yes.
He said we're going to make change, and he's made some good changes.
Yes, he has.
He hasn't done everything he expected to do, but he's made some good changes.
Yes.
And I think that's really why Trump has, got so much support, is because he's saying that he's going to change the Republican Party.
Yes.
Just like Obama said he was going to change the Democrats. Now, here's my problem with Trump, is that everything everybody wants changed in Washington is the graft in the like you say, the fascism,
right?
The oligarchy.
Mm-hmm.
Trump's just going to bring more of that.
Yes, and that is why Teg, we need explainers in chief. All of us bloggers, all of us radio hosts, and all these other folks. That is why we try to get an audience, because it's not ready. A lot of people won't readily see the connection between how Trump would like to do things. And in fact, I had two European journalists, Scandinavian journalists here last week, and when I spoke about him being a fascist, they took not offense, but they were taken aback a while, because they are trying to say, no, he's not a fascist. Mussolini was a fascist, and not understanding that the actual concept of fascism that we're talking about relative to how it applies to America. So you're absolutely correct, and I think it is our job, all of our jobs, to go ahead and point that out, exactly why his modus operandi is exactly that, fascism.
Let me say this real quick, and this is so concise. Everybody knows this one. If Trump comes into the presidency, what the Republicans will be doing is putting the fox in charge of the hen house.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's so simple, and people just can't see it. So, Egberto, thanks for the show, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you, sir. You have a great one. Okay, my friend?
Bye-bye.
Excellent. Let's go to line number 2 with Jerry. Come on in, Jerry. How you doing today, my friend?
Yeah, I just wanted to say two or three things about what's going on there. For one thing, what happened in Texas was atypical from what was happening in the rest of the country, and you kind of almost broached that. Mm-hmm. There was a lot more, especially in Houston, there was a lot more Democrats coming out to vote.
Yes.
And everything. It's been the opposite, in fact, throughout most of the rest of the country.
That is correct.
I don't know about Oklahoma. Somebody brought up Oklahoma.
No, Oklahoma was up.
Bernie.
Let me say,
they may have had more activity that way too, but you can't go by the experience down here and apply that to the rest of the country, basically.
Right. You're correct. Now, here's the deal. In the places where Bernie Sanders won, Democratic voting was fairly high. In the places where Hillary Clinton won, Democratic voting was fairly low. Texas has a few exceptions, but even Texas I don't have the numbers for the final, but at the early vote stage, Texas was down 50% during that early stage, early vote. So I don't know what it ended up being at the end, but I know it was very low in the beginning.
As far as the overall vote?
Yeah, I don't know the overall performance of Democrats in Texas after the election. Do you?
No, I know I don't. I was
Okay.
just wondering about how it worked out as turnout goes. But
Right.
like I said, the experience here locally was different
Right.
from
Houston.
everything that you saw
Right.
around most of the rest of the country, and maybe not all of it.
Absolutely.
Like, Oklahoma may have had something like that.
Right. Well, Jerry, anything else you want to add to the discussion, sir?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that, Democrats are being a little too smug about this thing. I think that, Trump could win in a general election.
Absolutely. You're a smart man. Of course he could win in a general election, because he don't only Trump. I want to articulate this, and all the people on hold right now, I'm coming to you, but this is important. I'm super glad you said what you said there, that why he could win. Let me tell you how smart Trump is, not from let's say a pure intelligence point of view, but otherwise. Here's what he did. You notice what he did with Planned Parenthood? You notice what he did with healthcare? He struck a populist thread at the same time that he took the right-wing point of view. In other words, he's saying, Planned Parenthood does great work. It helps poor people. It helps women that need all this help, etc., etc., etc. He does that fine. Then he says, but I will close Planned Parenthood if they perform abortions. Watch what he's going to say in the general. He won't have to contradict himself in the general, because what he said is, I will isolate the two, which of course they are already isolated, but that is what he's going to do. Same thing he does with healthcare. I am not going to let a man on the street or a woman on the street dying. We are not that type of a country. We're going to help them. Who pays? Yes, the government pays, but I'm going to get rid of Obamacare. So the way he's lining himself up right now, it's already for a general, and at the same time making sure that he holds a populist message. Look, all my lines are full, so I got to go.
Yeah, I was going to say, though, you're right. His political instincts are kind of amazing.
Yes, it is.
They're especially fitted out for this situation. And I just wanted to say that, it needs to be acknowledged by Democrats that Trump's appeal is much broader than anybody expected it to be.
A lot of
anyway, that's about it.
Thank you, Jerry. Let's go to, thank you very much, Jerry, and keep calling. Let's go to línea número 3, line number 3. E, come on in, E.
Yes, sir. How you doing today?
All right, how you doing, sir?
Doing pretty good. Hey, look, my point of view of this, I believe you have to have yin and yang.
Uh-huh.
I believe Donald Trump is going to come in. I believe he may win.
Were you listening?
4 years.
Yeah.
4 years. 4 years of Donald Trump, and we can get exactly what we want after that. I believe we can get Elizabeth Warren. I believe we can get whoever we want in there. Bernie can run in 4 years and win.
Let me tell you one thing, E. That I've heard that before, and in fact, I used to say that about giving Bush. Once I used to say, let's give Bush absolutely everything that he wants. And the reason I wanted them to give him everything that he wants is because people are going to be in such pain after that there's no way that they'll win again. But then the rational and more pragmatic Egberto comes in, and then I say to myself, but a lot of people, that's a lot of hurting for people in 4 years. We can't just let them hurt for 4 years.
No, I don't. I want Bernie Sanders policies in last year.
Absolutely. There you go, E. You have that absolutely right, sir. But look, E, my lines are filled up. Is there anything else you want to add, sir?
No, sir. Have a good day.
You have a wonderful day, and thank you for calling. Keep listening to Politics Done Right on KPFT. And please remember, tell people about this station, 90.1 FM. 90.1 FM in Houston, Texas. Okay, let's go to, thank you, sir. Let's go to line number 6 with John. Come on in, John. How are you doing today, my friend?
Is that me?
Yes, sir. That's you.
Yeah, when you tear the grass roots from your backyard and you leave bare soil and you don't do anything, you don't give any fertilizer to it, you don't water, you don't take care of the soil, what happens? You get weeds springing up.
Yes.
And that's what the Republicans are, and especially Donald Trump. He's a big, fat weed.
Well,
He's a weed, but that's not why I called.
Yes, it's interesting.
I wish I called earlier when I could have been on hold to listen to Jerry, because I like Jerry's comments. So I'll have to go listen on archive later on.
No problem.
But anyway, the reason why I'm calling is to correct an earlier caller whose assumption or assertion is that the reason why we have such a low turnout of Democratic voters on the Democratic side is because a lot of the Democratic voters perceive an equality and superiority between Hillary and Bernie as opposed to Republicans.
Right.
Well, that's not. I respectfully have to disagree.
Okay.
I think it's a repeat of what happened after Bill Clinton took office and again with Barack Obama. The youth vote turned out, and then both of these guys let down the youth vote as well as me. And when you let people down, it's really hard to get them reactivated again.
Right.
So what we're seeing now, we're suffering from the Democratic Party bending down too easily to Republican ideology, and Barack Obama especially. As much as I like the guy and I defend him on lots of things, he didn't fulfill his promise. He didn't stand up. He didn't act like the angry black guy, which he had the mandate to be, because regardless of how he acted, whether he was a Chris Rock or not, the Republicans are going to criticize him. So why not be yourself?
Yeah. Now let me tell you. Let me put a little bit. First of all, I'm not going to argue with anything that you said, because that is how it turned out. Now let me just put a little bit of defense in for Senor Obama, which I usually don't do, but I want to in this case remind you that a lot of the issues that we have with President Obama has to do with his own party. In other words, his own party are the ones that forced him somewhat to the right as well. he turned out to be more moderate than he really is. Remember, this is a guy who in his infancy used to talk about single-payer health care. This was a guy who in his infancy spoke about a whole lot of issues that were considered a whole lot more left than they were today. So you're absolutely right. Now, as far as the why people aren't coming here, I think people feel that the Democratic portion of the election is rigged, and because they feel that it's rigged, they figure a lot of it doesn't make a difference. When Bernie Sanders won in a landslide in New Hampshire, the party, the establishment panicked, and they really worked hard. And in working as hard as they could, they brought out the Black Caucus PAC to support her. They had all their gender specific and race specific and all these specific people come into the defense of come in to support Hillary. And with all of that, we still have the issue that her landslides, the landslides don't materialize except for in the South, which can be attributed a lot to the black vote, and to some extent, I think a misguided. I hate to say this, but I think a misguided black vote, because not understanding the whole history is a problem. But anyway, I have some more calls. I got to go to. Anything quick you need to say, John?
I would add one thing to what you just said.
Yes.
The other problem is not just that both Clinton and Obama let the youth vote down, so the midterms turned out to be a dud in terms of voter turnout.
Right.
But also we have the Electoral College. And you have those damn superdelegates. These are both un-American, undemocratic.
Yes.
So unless you fix that, never mind what the Republicans are doing, unless the Democratic Party fixes that, they're doomed to fail.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you very much for calling, my dear friend. Keep listening. Keep telling folks about us. Okay, John? All right. There is somebody who had called here and thought that we were off the chains. I would love for you to call, because I would love to talk to you. We're nice folk here, and we like to hear other sides of this story. So feel free to call, and I'll talk to you, and I'll be as respectful to you as I am with everybody else.
When he says off the chain, he says he loves you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought he meant that he didn't agree, and I still wanted to talk to him.
Now he is like, I agree with that guy. He's amazing.
Okay, well,
That's
thank
what
you,
that means.
thank you, my friend. Love it, love you, love everybody. Let's go ahead now and go to numero 5. That would be Rick. Come on. Number 5, I think. Rick, come on in, Rick. Rick, you're hot. If you're on mute, Rick.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now, sir. And
All
folks,
right.
hold one second, Rick. Folks, we have some lines that opened up. 713-526-5738. Again, that number is 713-526-5738. Women, again, I would love to hear from you. Put your voices in here and let folks know how you're thinking, what you're thinking, because that is a voice that, because men at many times the voice is out there, preponderance of their voice, we need to hear your voices as well. Anyhow, come on in, Rick, talk to me.
Okay, I got 2 things that I want to say.
Yes, sir.
One's just real quick in regards to something you guys were just talking about.
Yes, sir.
One more thing about that influenced President Obama into being more moderate than he was.
Yes.
Was the unprecedented and outrageous. I lost the word. But basically, Congress just blocking everything that
it's
he was
called
doing.
intransigence, sir. Intransigence of Congress, or obstructionist Congress.
Yeah,
either
obstructionist.
One.
Thank you. Yeah, unprecedented obstructionism is just insane with this president. So that's one thing that's contributed to him to being more moderate. But that's not why I called.
Yes.
One thing, really, the thing that I wanted to call about does have to do with Super Tuesday. And it actually attributes to, in my opinion anyway, a Hillary win in one of the states.
Mm-hmm.
In a state that was very close, Massachusetts.
Right.
Hillary 50%, Bernie 48%.
Right.
A certain ex-president showed up to a polling location.
Yes. Several polling
blocking
locations.
voters for
Several.
hours.
Several polling locations.
Several polling locations. And Bernie just barely lost. And what have we seen? I'm pretty sure you brought this up before. But the less voters there are, the more likely Hillary is going to win.
Exactly. I mean, it goes, that has been the standard thing. We always get more candidates to the right who win when we don't have a very populist type movement here. So you're absolutely right. But look, anything else you want to add real quickly, Rick, before I go to another call?
Nope, that's it.
Thank you very much for calling. I appreciate your call. Please remember to tell people about 90.1 FM KPFT and keep calling, keep listening. Thank you very much, Rick. Let's go. I got a lady. Let's go to Brenda, line number 6. Brenda, come on in.
Hi, Berto.
How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, thank you. I just wanted to say, make a comment about Mitt Romney's talk today.
Yes, ma'am.
I listened very carefully, and he pretty much blamed Trump of his business model.
Right.
And I don't think his was much different than his business model.
You are such a smart person, and you know what? I am actually going to use that in a blog today. You know, I while I was watching it, I was just kind of smirking and smiling that he was really calling out Trump. But I never did just think about, wait a minute, he's accusing Trump of doing the same thing. When he had his firms that went ahead and did these funny loans or funny asset reallocations.
Yeah,
exactly. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
You're right, Brenda. You're absolutely right. Thank you.
And another thing
Yes.
about Mitt, he was flaunting his money when he was making it. Remember the cover on Time magazine where everybody had money coming out of their ears?
Right.
And he was on there. Well, he was talking about Trump being rich and flaunting his richness and his, I'm rich, I'm better. Well, he's very rich also.
Exactly. You know, it's funny that all the people that are so scared of Bernie becoming involved or others, they're all billionaires, millionaires, or whatever. So that's kind of interesting. Anything else you want to add, Brenda, before I go to the other call?
No, I'm with Bernie all the way.
All right. Thank you, Bernie. Thank you, Brenda, and you have a wonderful day, okay?
You too. Bye.
Absolutely. Okay, let's go to line number 4 with Zach. Come on in, Zach. How you doing today?
Hi. How's it going?
Excellent, sir.
Yeah. Earlier you talked about Trump, talking about Planned Parenthood.
Yes.
And stuff. At the last debate, I noticed like 3 things that he pretty much was just tapping into the Democrats with. He also talked about pre-existing conditions.
Exactly.
And I mean, I think he already has the Republican vote, and he's really trying to, tap into the Democrat vote already. And that could be a pretty scary thing. I'm anxious to see the debate tonight to see if he says anything else.
Well, look, let me tell you, you're absolutely right, Zach. And you for a lot of Democrats, right? Remember when I talk about the Democrats are not really working their base to really give folks a reason to believe that they're going to be any different than the status quo. And Trump, I don't want to call him inarticulate, as it doesn't matter the amount of crap that he's talking about, the amount of ridiculous things that he's saying. The reality is that many people like to hear that. Think about if you are, let's put it this way. Let's look at you as a white person, a white Democrat in Appalachia who believes nothing good has happened to you over the last 20 or 30 years. Who are you going to vote for?
Right, you'd vote for Trump.
You see what I'm saying? No, you shouldn't. You shouldn't. But what I'm saying is when you look at your cards, you're going to say, oh my God, the message that he's given is talking to me. Now, that same person listening to Bernie Sanders is going to say the same thing as well, right? So their pick is really going to be between those two guys. And then when the narrative is played up, I think Bernie wins because it's a billionaire who has helped nobody versus a common man who has been fighting and saying the same thing for years, and all the tapes come up. I see such a much easier path than many see for Bernie, let's say, over Hillary, over Trump or Cruz. But people just cannot believe that they need to step out and do something. It is amazing that the way I see it. But anyhow, I'm filled up with calls, and I need to go to another one, my friend. Anything else quickly that you need to say, Zach?
I was just going to say something about the polling booths.
Yes.
I'm in Northwest Houston, and they actually separated the Democrats and Republicans.
Right.
The Republicans were in a nice hotel room. I know we're a red state, and then Democrats had to vote in a pool house with no air conditioning and
so
way
what's
less
new?
polling booths and long lines. So
Thank you for telling that. Now to my Republican friends, and I have a lot of Republican friends, do something about that and make sure Democrats get the same treatment in this state, because remember, this state is going to go blue, and as a Democrat, I'm going to be treating everybody the same. Thank you very much for calling in, Zach. Okay, let's go to Mark, line number 3. Line number 3. Come on, Mark. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing okay, man.
Talk to me.
Okay, everybody should vote for Donald Trump because he wants to protect the United States. Basically, the Republican and Democrat Party have been brought out by the New World Order, Illuminati, all that. So basically, he's the only one that's speaking his own mind.
Let me
and let me tell you, as a black man too, it's like, why would we would have high employment? Why would we want a whole another class of people to come in so we can? Well, we don't have a job. So now we really can't get a job, but it hurts the whole America, not just black America, though. And Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, they haven't done nothing for black people. I don't know why they vote for them.
Can I ask you something? Can I ask you something on Mark?
Yes, sir.
Where do you get all your information from?
From everywhere. I read. Okay. I have a lot of knowledge.
Okay, excellent. Let me ask you to do me a favor, okay? Because I want to be in touch with you. You go to egbertowillies.com. Okay?
Go to where?
Egberto. Actually, do this. It's easier. politicsdoneright.com. Okay? And drop me a line because I'd like to hear a little bit deeper, but I'm running out of time now and I got to go to other callers. Okay?
Nobody speaks for the I never see any black leader that says we need to build a wall.
Okay.
That's what we need.
Okay, we'll talk later, my friend. You take care, okay?
Okay.
Thank you, Mark. All right, let's go to Rick. Rick, line number 5.
Hey.
Rick, talk to me, my brother.
Yes, sir. I'll make this real quick.
Yes.
I think the numbers are skewed a little bit as far as the Democratic turnout because I live in Montgomery County, and I voted in the Republican primary because there was none of the Democrats on local elections had anybody to vote against. You know,
right.
There was no choice; they were already just set in stone. So I voted in the Republican side. One to vote for Kasich, and then also, but there was a lot of county levels that the Tea Party and the Texas Patriots were going off after some of the more moderate Republicans.
So you wanted to do something about that.
And so I voted Republican. But I'm not going to vote Republican in the final.
Let me tell you something. I really hope a lot of our voters were as informed as you are in doing what you did, because actually what you did is an important thing as well, right? So
I know a lot of people that did the same thing I did.
Right.
For those reasons.
And that's a very legitimate reason. Now, there's only one problem. If you're actually an officer for the Democratic Party, that would have presented some problems.
I'm just. Yeah. But anyway, when it gets down to it, I'm actually hoping Bernie's the man. But
a lot of people believe that. A lot of people are hoping for that. I mean, a lot of people are looking at a populist message that we need right now. But anyway, thank you very much for calling, Rick, and you have a wonderful day. Okay, my friend. Take care now. Okay, let's go to line number 2. That would be, come on in, line number 2. Talk to me.
I don't know if it's me or not.
It's you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. I've been hearing socialism is communism, and I don't understand that, and I have a hard time arguing with it, but weren't the bailouts of GM and the auto industry as well as the bank socialism?
Yes, ma'am. I mean, here's the deal, okay? You're a very smart woman.
It makes me insane, crazy. My hair wants to catch on fire because these people are so ill-informed.
Well, here's the problem, okay? The problem is that even the dictionary that we use today describes socialism wrongly. Okay, it's wrong. I
agree, yeah.
And because what they describe as socialism in the dictionary here in the United States is actually communism. Socialism doesn't ask for the government to take over all means of production. That's not true, meaning all businesses. It simply says that we want to have healthcare, things like healthcare for all. We want to have a social safety net
for all.
And education for all, etc. And the thing about it is, I had 2 journalists in here last week from
I heard
Finland.
Them. They were wonderful from Finland.
Right, Finland and Sweden, and it works for them, and they're happy. They can live. They can actually live. They don't live for working. Work is just one aspect of their lives. For many Americans today,
I agree.
Living is
horrible.
Working.
I'm trying to put my daughter through school right now, and it's killing me.
Exactly. And what I'm saying, that is where we're at now. Americans are fearful. Americans think all they can do is work. So, I mean,
exactly.
It is crazy. So, I mean, we have to do something better. Okay, look, anything else you want to add?
I appreciate your time very much, and I know you've got other calls, and it's at the end of your show. Thank you for being on the air.
Thank you, ma'am. You have a wonderful day now.
Okay? Thank you.
All right, let's go to line number 6 with Gary. Come on in, Gary.
Hey, good afternoon.
Talk to me.
I want to make a point that I've read that, Nate Silver is a famous statistician who made the calls on some elections in the past, and he had an article, a column recently that speculating or saying that he didn't think it was unlikely that Trump would win, and it could be part of a major partisan realignment that's happening in the United States.
I mean, I don't see why anybody would disagree with that. I mean, the truth of the matter is, you know, at first we were just talking about polls, right, Gary?
Yeah,
at first it was just about polls. It's no longer just about polls anymore, because we actually have people voting. There was a time when they said that the cap for Donald Trump was 20%. Then they said the cap for Donald Trump was 25%, then 30%, then 35%. He's cracked 40%. Look, folks, the reality is the guy has a populist message. It makes no sense if you know the details of how things work.
Sure.
But it's a populist message that most people don't quite understand. Okay, so I need to have a quick break, a hard break, okay? Thank you very much, Gary.
Thanks for your show.
Thank you very much.
We're going to squeeze in that break. Man, we have had so many phone calls this hour. But, okay, let's take a brief look at your afternoon commute. On the Katy Freeway inbound at Highway 6, an accident affecting a center lane to right shoulder is backing up traffic to Greenhouse. On the West Loop northbound at Forness, an accident is affecting the left shoulder. You're tapping on the brakes in both directions from Evergreen to the Katy Freeway and northbound to Irvington. And on the North Loop, you're having some trouble westbound on the Hardy Toll Road. The heavy truck accident has been cleared, but traffic still remains backed up all the way to Gellhorn. And let's take a quick look at your weather around town. It's currently 87 degrees and clear sunny skies here in the heart of Montrose. Tonight's low will be 51 degrees. And when we take a look at the extended forecast, Friday, expect sunny skies and a high of 77 degrees. That's a look at your Houston area weather and traffic. I'm Shannon McCurchie, and you are listening to KPFT Houston.
Well, folks, we are at the end of the show. The news is coming up next with, I think, Jacob Santien. You going to be doing news today, Jacob? Excellent. So, folks, we are at the end of this show. Thank you very much for listening to the show. I really appreciate it. I wish I could have gotten to all of the calls. We missed about 3 or 4 of them, but I tell you what. Keep listening and call next week, because we are going to be here again. We are going to be here with all that good information, good news, and everything that you want. So with that, it is Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willies, and I am out. Stay tuned for the news.
Thank you very much for listening to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. You can personally reach me by sending an email to egberto@politicsdoneright.com. Remember, Egberto is spelled E-G-B-E-R-T-O. Change starts with you. 90.1 KPFT gives you information not tainted by corporate interest. Please visit kpft.org and contribute. Let's ensure continued access to real information and news remain available to all. Again, thank you very much for listening to Politics Done Right.